How you guys doing? It is Tuesday, August 18th, 2020. I here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to cover all the big games, all the elite performances that happened yesterday, as it was the first day of playoff basketball. Additionally, the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs are still going on. There was no WNBA basketball yesterday, but there were some games yesterday, and there were some big baseball games yesterday. I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into what's going on today. So first, I'm going to start with playoff basketball. Like I just said, this is the first day of basketball. The last day, or on Saturday, they had a play-in game between the Trailblazers and the Grizzlies to see who gets to play the Lakers in the first round. And after that, after the Trailblazers won, I think they're scheduled to play today. But I'm just going to cover the first games that happened yesterday. So the first game that happened was between the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets, the 3 and the 6 seed matchup. This game would go into overtime, and the Denver Nuggets would win this game 135 to 125. Starting with the Jazz, the performer of the night was, of course, their elite shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell, who went on to have 57 points, added 9 rebounds, 7 assists. In 43 minutes, he shot 19 for 33 from the field, 6 for 15 from the three-point line, and he made all 13 of his free throws. But once again, it wasn't enough. Additionally, their center, Rudy Gobert, would also chip in 17 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and 4 blocks. He did have the defending play against Nikola Jokic to prevent him from getting the game winner in regulation, but in overtime, the Utah Jazz just got smoked. Going to the Denver Nuggets, big performance from their elite center, Nikola Jokic, who would finish with 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists. An amazing elite performance from their point guard, Jamal Murray, out of Kentucky, who in 40 minutes finished with 36 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists, scoring over half of his points in the fourth quarter and in overtime combined. And I just say the big play of the night, he's had so many, just like any of the jump shot, any of the daggers he hit towards the end of the fourth quarter or in overtime to put the Denver Nuggets up by so much. Jamal Murray had a great game last night, and I'm going to give him his credit for it. Second game of the night, following this win, because the Denver Nuggets took a 1-0 lead. Also, the Toronto Raptors, the 2 seed in the East, took the 1-0 lead over the 7 seed Brooklyn Nets as they beat them 134 to 110. The big performance from the Brooklyn Nets would come off the bench from their shooting guard Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot, who would finish with 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. He shot 9 for 13 from the field, 6 for 9 from 3. The thing I like to say about the Brooklyn Nets, they still have Kyrie and KD, and they're a playoff team without either of them playing. So I think once those 2 players come back, the Brooklyn Nets are going to be a dangerous team. But in the meantime, they didn't, and the Nets lost by 24. On the winning side, the Toronto Raptors, first of all, their elite power forward, Pascal Siakam, finished with 18 points, 11 rebounds on the day. Their big performance would come from their shooting guard, Fred VanVleet, who played 39 minutes, finished with 30 points and 11 assists, shooting 11 for 15 from the field, 8 for 10 from 3. Big game for him. Additionally, Serge Ibaka finished with 22 points and 7 rebounds off the bench to help the Raptors get this 1-0 lead over the Brooklyn Nets. The third game of the night would happen between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. And in game 1, the Boston Celtics would go on to take the 1-0 series lead after beating the Sixers 109 to 101. Without Ben Simmons, the Sixers were still doing a really good job of holding their own. Their elite center, Joel Embiid, would finish the game with 26 points and 16 rebounds, shooting 8 for 15 from the field, 1 for 4 from the 3-line, 9 for 12 from the free throw line. Additionally, Josh Richardson would finish with 18 points, and so would Alec Burks off the bench. But the Boston Celtics would prove to be the stronger team. Big performances from their big 3. First off, their elite point guard, Kemba Walker, would play 35 minutes. He'd finish with 19 points and 5 assists, shooting 7 for 16 from the field, 0 for 4 from the three-point line, 5 for 6 from the free throw line. Additionally, their shooting guard, Jaylen Brown, would finish with 29 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals, shooting 9 for 16 from the field, 5 for 8 from the 3-line, making all 6 of his free throws. And last but not least, their elite forward, Jason Tatum, yet another young gun, finishing with 32 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks, while shooting 10 for 21 from the field, 2 for 5 from the three-point line, and he made 10 of his 11 free throws on the night to give the Boston Celtics this 1-0 lead over the Philadelphia 76ers. And moving to the last game of the night that happened, the Los Angeles Clippers were able to take the 1-0 series lead over the 7-seed Dallas Mavericks, beating them 118 to 110. Big performance would come from the Dallas Mavericks elite shooting guard, Luka Doncic, who in 38 minutes would finish with 42 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, and 3 steals. He finished with 11 turnovers. He finished the game with shooting 13 for 21 from the field, 2 for 6 from the three-point line. He made 14 of his 15 three-pointers. Or of his free throws, 14 for 15 from the free throw line. But it just wouldn't be enough. As for the Clippers, where the Mavericks had one guy, the Clippers had 2 guys. Another thing to note, Kristaps Porzingis only played 20 minutes because he was ejected in the third quarter after picking up his second technical foul of the game. Probably shouldn't do that next game. But for the Los Angeles Clippers, it was Paul George and Kawhi Leonard leading the way. Additionally, Marcus Morris would finish with 19 points and 6 rebounds and 4 steals. Kawhi Leonard would finish with 29 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals as his playoff pedigree hadn't gone away. He finished shooting 11 for 21 from the field, 1 for 7 from the three-point line, and he made all 6 of his free throws. Additionally, their shooting guard, Paul George, their elite shooting guard, Paul George, would finish with 27 points on the day, shooting 10 for 22 from the field, 4 for 11 from the three-point line, and he made all 3 of his free throws. With this, like I said, the Los Angeles Clippers now lead that series 1-0. And now just to look into what games to look forward to today. First, at 1:30, the 8th seed Orlando Magic are gonna take on the 1st seed Milwaukee Bucks on TNT. Following that, it'll be the 4-5 series between the Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers as their game 1 is at 4 o'clock. Following that, at 6:30 is the 4-5 series between the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And at 9 o'clock, the Portland Trailblazers, who played in to be the number 8 seed, are going to face off against the 1st seed Los Angeles Lakers at 9 o'clock. So today is day 2 of playoff basketball, and following day 1, I expect day 2 to be just as crazy. Now, jumping to another playoff bubble in the NHL, starting off with last night, the Tampa Bay Lightning were able to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 2-1 yesterday, and now Tampa Bay took a 3-1 series. Following the lead of their left wing, Yanni Gourde, who finished with a goal and an assist. Big game for him. Additionally, the Colorado Avalanche took a 3-1 series lead over the Coyotes after scoring 7 goals against them, led by their center, Nazem Kadri. He finished with 2 goals and an assist. Big win for the Avalanche, and now they're 1 game away from clinching a spot in the quarterfinals. Well, in the East semis. Additionally, the Boston Bruins beat the Carolina Hurricanes 4-3. They scored all 4 of their goals in the third period, and now Boston takes a 3-1 series lead over the Carolina Hurricanes. They were led by their left wing, Jake DeBrusk, who finished with 2 goals on the night. Big win for Boston. And the last game of the night, the reigning champs, St. Louis Blues, were able to tie the series with the Vancouver Canucks with a 3-1 win last night, led by their center, Ryan O'Reilly. He finished with 2 goals and an assist to put the Blues up, and that series is tied. Now, looking forward to what hockey to look forward to today. The Philadelphia Flyers look to win their 3rd game of the series as they lead the Canadiens 2-1 as they face as their game 4 is today. Game also at 5:30. There'll be a game 5 between the Calgary Flames and the Dallas Stars as both teams look to win game 3 and try to get within 1 game of clinching the series. Additionally, the New York Islanders are leading the Washington Capitals 3-0, and game 4 of that series is at 8 o'clock tonight. And the last game of the night is going to be between the Blackhawks and the Golden Knights, as the Blackhawks won game 4 to prevent the Golden Knights from sweeping. They're still 3 wins away from clinching onto the next round as the Golden Knights. They just have to win 1 more game, and then that could be tonight. They could be the first team that clinches tonight. Them or the Islanders could be the first team that clinches, and that's tonight. That is Tuesday. Moving on to the WNBA bubble, there was no basketball yesterday, but today they're going to have 3 games at Bradenton. First, the Indiana Fever are going to face off against the Connecticut Sun. Both teams are trying to look for their 5th win of the season. Additionally, at 9 o'clock on ESPN2, the Las Vegas Aces, the 8-2 Aces, are going to play against the 7-4 Chicago Sky. Both those teams are going off to a pretty doing well to start off. And at 10 o'clock, the New York Liberty, the worst team in the WNBA, with Sabrina Ionescu, are going to face off against the best team in the WNBA, the Seattle Storm, led by Breanna Stewart. That's gonna take place at 10, and that's the WNBA for today. And moving on to regular season baseball, just picking up where we started yesterday. I'm going to start with the doubleheader in the NL Central as the Cardinals faced off against the Cubs yesterday. And because the Cardinals have been dealing with COVID, they played their 9th and 10th games of the season yesterday, whereas the Chicago Cubs went on to play their 20th and their 21st games. So, that's a whole gap that they have to make up. But in the first game, the Cardinals were able to beat the Cubs. They only held them to 3 hits in this game. Big win, or Dexter Fowler would get his second home run of the season. Brad Miller would get 2 RBIs in the 7th inning as he put the Cardinals above to get their 5th win of the season. With this one, they were 5-4, and the Cubs slipped to 13-7 as Kyle Hendricks picked up his second loss of the season. And also going on to the second game, the Chicago Cubs were able to get the win on the second part as they were able to pick up their 14th win of the season. And with this loss, the Cardinals now dropped to 5-5. For the Cardinals, their designated hitter Brad Miller would finish 2 for 2 with 2 runs and 3 RBIs. He had his second home run of the season. He had a pretty good hitting performance on the day for both games. I'm not gonna lie. And additionally, the pinch hitter for the Chicago Cubs, David Bodie, would go 1 for 1 with 3 RBIs and a run as he had his 3rd home run of the season to help give the Cubs the 14-7 lead, and they still hold the lead in the National League Central. Now, staying out in the Central, I'm just going to jump to the American League as the Minnesota Twins hosted the Kansas City Royals last night. And the only run that the Royals were able to score would be in the 9th, and the Minnesota Twins would jump to 15-8 after beating the Royals 4-1 yesterday. Nelson Cruz would hit 2 home runs. He now has 8 on the season. He finished with 2 RBIs on the day. Big win for the Twins, and the Royals now fall to 9-14. Staying out in the AL Central, the Chicago White Sox hosted the Detroit Tigers. They hit 6 home runs on the day. For the White Sox, Tim Anderson would hit 2 home runs. He now has 4 on the season as he finished with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He went 2 for 5 on the day. Additionally, Yoan Moncada would hit his 5th home run of the season as the third baseman finished 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Additionally, Luis Robert, their young outfielder, would finish with 2 home runs on the day as he finished 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. And Mendick would finish with his first home run of the season. Big win for the White Sox as they are now above 500. They are now sitting at 12-11, and the Tigers now fall to 9-11 on the season. So that's the Central. Now let me jump out to the East and start with the American League. The New York Yankees hosted the Boston Red Sox last night as the Yankees now jumped to 16-6 after beating the Red Sox 6-3 yesterday. For the Yankees, Luke Voit would hit 2 home runs on the day as the first baseman would finish 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. And of course, he had 2 runs. Aaron Hicks would also hit 2 home runs as the center fielder finished 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. With this win the win would go to King, their relief pitcher. But with this win, like I said, the Yankees are now 16-6, and the Red Sox now drop to 6-17 in the AL East. Additionally, staying out there, the Baltimore Orioles hosted the then Buffalo Blue Jays, the Toronto, now Buffalo Blue Jays. As the Blue Jays finished scoring 7 runs in the game, Biggio would finish by hitting his 6th home run of the day. He had 3 home runs. Grichuk would finish with 4 RBIs on the day. Both of those players combined would account for the 7 RBIs that the Blue Jays would have. With this win, the Blue Jays are now 8-11 as the Orioles now drop to 12-10. Hyunjin Ryu would have yet another good pitching performance. He pitched 6 innings. He struck out 3, only allowed 1 run on the day. Big win for the Blue Jays, much needed. He probably had the pitching performance of the day. It was a big win for the Blue Jays, especially at this moment. And staying out in the East, but moving to the National League, the Atlanta Braves hosted the Washington Nationals. Big game, of course, from the Nationals. Their left fielder Juan Soto would go 1 for 1 with an RBI as he hit his 7th home run in 12 games played. He's been off to a crazy start. And the Nationals had a 6-3 lead over the Braves going into the 9th, but the Braves would hit two 2-run home runs, the first of which by their left fielder Adam Duvall to make it 6-5, and the second of which by their shortstop Dansby Swanson, who would finish 3 for 6 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. As for the play of the game, he would hit a 2-run walk-off home run to give the Braves their 14th win of the season. They're now 14-10. Will Smith would get his second win of the season, and the Washington Nationals, the defending champions, dropped to 8-12. But of course, that was a very, very big game. Another big game in the National League East happened between the New York Mets and the Miami Marlins. Big games from both Robinson Cano and Pete Alonso. First for Robinson Cano, their future Hall of Fame second baseman. He would go 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 3 runs. He had 2 home runs he had 2 home runs in the game. He now has 4 on the season. Additionally, their elite first baseman Pete Alonso would go 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs, as he now has 5 home runs on the season. Very, very big game for Pete Alonso. And with this win, the Mets are now 10-14, and the Miami Marlins now drop to 9-7. They drop a bit from the Braves in terms of their lead of the National League East. And last but not least, I'm going to jump to the West and show you what's going on there. First, the Texas Rangers hosted the San Diego Padres, and the Padres will go off to score 14 runs on them, beat them 14-4, as they are now 12-2, and the Rangers now drop to 10-11. Big games for the San Diego Padres. First off, their elite third baseman Manny Machado will go 0 for 5. Not a big game for him. The hitting performance of the night will go to their elite shortstop Fernando Tatis, who will go 2 for 5 with 7 RBIs and 2 runs. I mean, he had a 3-run home run, and he hit a grand slam against the Texas Rangers. And now he currently has 28 RBIs on the season, and the Padres have only played 24 games. Right now, I think he's the front runner for the National League MVP, and he is not slowing down at all. Fernando Tatis, amazing performance. Additionally, the Houston Astros hosted the Colorado Rockies, and the Astros were able to beat the Rockies 2-1 last night. Big win from their starter, Brandon Bielak, who finished. He only allowed 1 run. He only allowed 1 hit. He struck out 4. I would say he probably got the pitching performance over Ryu, even though Ryu pitched an amazing performance. I'd probably say it goes to Bielak. He did hold this Colorado Rockies team to only 1 run and 1 hit while he was playing. They only got 1 other hit while he was there. I mean, Trevor Story would hit a home run in the 3rd inning. He would be the only hit off Bielak for his entire start. But with this win, the Astros are now 12-10. The Rockies are now 13-9. Additionally, the Arizona Diamondbacks went on to host the Oakland Athletics, and the D-backs were able to beat the Athletics 4-3 off of a walk-off single in the 9th by David Peralta. David Peralta, their left fielder, would finish 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs on the day. He also hit his second home run of the season. Big game for him. For the A's, Matt Chapman, their elite third baseman, would finish 0 for 3 with an RBI. With this loss, the A's are now 16-7, and the Diamondbacks are once again above 500. They're sitting at 12-11. And even their starting pitcher, Zach Gallen, would only allow 1 run. He'd allow 3 hits, and he strike out 8 batters in 7 innings pitched. He also had a very, very good performance. Big win overall for the Diamondbacks. Additionally, the National League West leading Los Angeles Dodgers were able to beat the Seattle Mariners yesterday. The Dodgers are now 17-7. The Mariners are now 7-17 with this 11-9 win over the Mariners. First, starting off with the Mariners, Kyle Seager, their third baseman, would finish 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Kyle Lewis, the Mariners center fielder, would also finish 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Their first baseman, Evan White, would finish 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. That would account for 7 of their RBIs. Big game from those 3. But the Dodgers just came out all guns a-blazing. Their elite designated hitter Mookie Betts would finish 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He had his 9th home run of the season. The Dodgers shortstop Corey Seager would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs, as he had his 6th home run of the season. Yeah, you heard that right. Corey and Kyle Seager both hit a home run in the same game yesterday. The Dodgers' elite center fielder, Cody Bellinger, would finish 0 for 3 with a run, and he finished with 2 walks on the day. But with this win, I mean, it will be a big win, and the Dodgers should continue to hold their lead on the National League West, especially after the Rockies lost. The Dodgers they hold a bigger lead, and Kenley Jansen was able to get his 7th save of the season last night. And of course, last game of the night, the Los Angeles Angels were able to beat the San Francisco Giants in the 9th inning off of a walk-off home run from Tommy La Stella. Very, very big game for him, and he hit his second home run of the season as the second baseman, finished 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs on the day. Mike Trout would hit his 10th home run of the season. He and Fernando Tatis are the only 2 players in baseball that have double-digit home runs as of right now. He finished 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Rendon would finish 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run. And then for the Giants, I mean, they would get 2 RBIs from Brandon Belt, their first baseman, as he went 1 for 4. With this loss, the Giants are now 8-16, and with this win, the Angels are now 8-15. And right now, that's what baseball's looking like. And just to give you a hint of what to look forward to for Tuesday baseball, because it is still the regular season, and there's still teams that are a little bit behind in terms of their scheduling. Zach Greinke's going to try to look for his second win as they face off against the Rockies, and their pitcher hasn't lost since Zatella. Additionally, Dylan Bundy's going to make his start against Trevor Cahill as the Giants face off against the Angels at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Frankie Montas is going to try to get his 3rd win for the Athletics as they face against the Diamondbacks at 6 o'clock. Carlos Carrasco's looking to get his 3rd win of the season as they face off against the league's worst team, the Pittsburgh Pirates right now. Blake Snell's looking to face off against Masahiro Tanaka as the Rays face off against the Yankees at 7 o'clock. Josh Tomlin's going to try to get his 2nd win of the season as the Braves face off against the Nats at 7 o'clock. Additionally, David Peterson's going to look to get a start against Mejia as the Mets play the Marlins. Nate Pearson's going to try to get his first win for the Blue Jays as they face off against the Orioles at 7:35. Additionally, Luis Castillo is going to try to get his first win for the Reds as they face off against the Royals as Brad Keller hasn't lost yet. And Ponce de Leon is going to try to make a start against Yu Darvish in the Cubs as they face off against each other at 8:15. Additionally, Kenta Maeda is looking to go 4-0 as the Twins, sitting at 15-8, are looking to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. But that's everything that's supposed to go on with baseball today. I want to thank you once again for listening to all 22 minutes of this piece. This is The Elite. I'm James Sims. I want to thank you once again for hearing my piece. I hope all is well. Peace out.